So, I have been using this highly specific budget panel as my secondary display for the last few weeks. And honestly, it has turned into a remarkably grounding experiment in modern consumer tech. Every single day in this industry, we get hit with relentless marketing for the next massive hardware breakthrough. We talk about high-end 4K arrays, bleeding-edge 8K monitors, complex micro-LED structures, blazing fast 240Hz refresh metrics, and panels engineered to be so intensely radiant they could practically damage your eyesight. But when you step back and look at what the broader consumer base is actually buying, you uncover an incredibly grounded truth. A huge portion of everyday buyers out there completely bypass those top-tier specifications. They simply need a functional matrix, a screen dedicated to a small workspace, a secondary display for a spare bedroom, or perhaps a basic panel for a minimal apartment setup. Which brings us directly to this unit right here. This is the Vizio 32-inch Class HD LED TV, specifically the D32hn-E4 model. It is compact, it feels astonishingly lightweight, it features a completely synthetic plastic housing, and the maximum resolution peaks out at just 720p. Yes, you heard that correctly. 720p. In an era where our mobile phones routinely carry denser pixel clusters than a commercial theater screen, utilizing a 720p display feels like stepping directly into a time machine. But here is the core dilemma we need to address. Is it genuinely bad to use, or does it deliver precisely the amount of utility you expect for the price? Let's break it all down. When you initially pull this unit out of the box, the immediate physical attribute that catches your attention is the total mass. Or more accurately, the absolute lack of any real physical heft. You can literally lift this entire chassis using just 2 fingers. The design language is defined by a very standard matte black composite shell, somewhat substantial bezels compared to ultramodern trends, and 2 basic plastic feet that keep the frame stabilized. It makes no attempt to simulate premium luxury. It does not masquerade as an elegant piece of modern living room art. It functions as a utilitarian tool, plain and simple. Spin the unit around to the rear, and the connectivity array is surprisingly competent for a chassis of this scale. You get standard HDMI inputs, a functional USB port, and those legacy component connections if you intend to link up an aging retro gaming console or a basic cable box. But we need to address the central point of contention, which is the actual screen quality. This consists of a 32-inch LED panel operating at a 1366 by 768 grid. If you attempt to park yourself 2 feet away and treat this as a primary desktop workstation monitor, you will definitely observe individual pixels. Text will lack crisp resolution, and you will miss out on the deep infinite contrast boundaries native to premium OLED displays. The black levels register closer to a muted gray, and the off-axis viewing angles are merely passable. Tilt too far to the side, and the overall image begins to lose saturation and fade out. However, if you reposition yourself roughly 6 feet backward, which reflects how normal people actually position a secondary TV like this, a shift occurs. Your visual perception adapts. Suddenly, standard broadcast streams, casual internet clips, or casual console gaming sessions look perfectly adequate. The color reproduction, straight out of the package, offers a surprising amount of pop. Vizio typically does a commendable job with factory color profiles, and this budget panel maintains that trend. The backlight generates enough brightness to offset a moderately illuminated room, though you will encounter visibility issues if direct sunlight hits the front glass elements. A major detail to highlight is that this operates as a non-smart, standard LED platform. The user experience feels incredibly quick when powering up or toggling inputs because the hardware remains unburdened by a bloated, sluggish smart TV interface that degrades over time. When you need to stream media, you merely attach an external streaming device to the back, and the setup is complete. Honestly, I appreciate this clean strategy on entry-level displays because it ensures the foundational hardware won't become sluggish in 24 months due to heavy software updates. Audio output lands exactly where you would anticipate for basic, downward-firing internal drivers. The volume levels suffice to fill an average bedroom, but the performance completely lacks low-frequency punch or rumble. If your viewing consists of casual news broadcasts or dialogue-heavy podcasts, vocal tracks sound distinct and perfectly legible. If you attempt to experience an intense cinematic action movie, you will definitely want to route the signal out to a budget soundbar or plug in a dedicated pair of headphones. So, what is the ultimate conclusion here? If your goal is to secure a breathtaking centerpiece for a dedicated home theater room, this clearly isn't the device for you. But if your objective is to find a dependable, uncomplicated, highly portable display that functions reliably without complex configurations, this Vizio D series accomplishes exactly what it advertises on the box. It avoids over-promising, and it refrains from overcharging. It remains a straightforward, capable display. Anyway, those are my observations on this one. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you all in the very next video. Peace.